The time of the superhero film is over, according to prolific Batman writer Chuck Dixon. He posted this to his Facebook. He said the superhero cycle had a good run, but it's over. He shared an image of Michael Keaton in the Batman suit standing next to Barry Allen as the Flash. I'm not sure if that's actually in the Flash or this is some kind of photoshopped image, but one would assume it's from the Flash. I haven't seen the Flash, so I can't really comment on that. But I actually reached out to Chuck to kind of get some more information on what he meant by this, give us some more details. So this is kind of a Bounding in the Comics exclusive. And Chuck gave us some information about what he meant here. And he said, every movie cycle ends. Westerns give way to spies who give way to horror and on and on. The superhero genre has had an extraordinarily long run. But a number of factors have contributed to drop in interest for comic book based content: oversaturation, inconsistent quality, and Hollywood's restricted access to the Chinese market. Both Disney and Warner's are to blame as well. Marvel fans had to put up with a steady assault of woke content, an overbearing amount of comedy included in material, a general decline in the quality of effects, and most damaging, a deliberate departure from the source material at every opportunity. He then specifically went on to talk about DC. He said DC screwed the pooch by constantly rebooting their franchises with new auteurs and casts. In addition, they diluted their brand with multiple different and conflicting continuities spread across TV and features. Which Batman is real? Who is the authorized Superman? Then, pointing to the most recent Flash film, Dixon said, and they damned themselves with this latest Flash flick by leaning into all the multiverse nonsense in order to cram as many cameos into this failed project as possible. He then rhetorically asks, is it any wonder even dedicated fans are staying home and tuning out? I can attest to that. I am. I'm staying home and I'm tuning out, and I think I'm probably one of the more dedicated fans. I'm just not going to see these movies. So I think he's 100% right on that point. He goes on to say, with nearly every studio currently billions in the red, they can no longer afford to either produce more tentpole superhero flicks or even market and release ones they have in the can or in post-production. We are seeing this with both Warner Brothers and the Walt Disney Company. Warner Brothers infamously canned the Batgirl movie that they were supposed to be doing and took a huge write-off. The Walt Disney Company recently is doing the same thing. They're writing off whole plethora of things that they had on Disney Plus and taking it off and writing those off. So they're even writing off things that they already created. We've also had Disney CEO Bob Iger talk about doing a slowdown of Marvel, Star Wars, all those things. And we have Kevin Feige, president of Marvel Studios. He's also saying they're going to be doing less Disney Plus shows, less superhero films as well, and spreading it out. They're going to be doing less of these things. I did go and ask Chuck what he thinks will follow in the wake of this superhero cycle. He said, there's more horror films in production currently than in the entire history of cinema. Those are always earners as they cost less to complete. And then he said, I also know that studios are looking for mid-budget action flicks with bankable leads. Good news for guys like Jason Statham and Chris Hemsworth. Yeah, I actually think we're seeing a rise in that. I think the John Wick franchise is an example of that. I think Top Gun, Maverick, huge example of that. I think you're going to see a lot of people kind of get back to maybe those 80s, 90s action films that we all loved. I know one of my favorite films is Con Air. Obviously love Die Hard franchise as well. Chris Hemsworth seemingly has got a franchise going with Extraction over there at Netflix. So I'm wondering if we're going to be seeing, as Chuck says here, a resurgence in the action genre. So that's kind of what Chuck had to say on the matter. He's not really alone in commenting on the state of superhero films. Even James Gunn recently said that he thinks there's too many superhero films being made, although he's not really sure about the oversaturation. He thinks it really comes down to a lack of quality, and a lot of the filmmakers who are making them now are just being really lazy and kind of just phoning it in. And he also points to the fact that they aren't tapping into different genres, and that's something that he wants to do with the DCU, is kind of tap into maybe different types of genres within the DCU. We know that the Swamp Thing movie that he's got maybe with James Mangold going on, obviously that's ripe for horror, which is something that Chuck Dixon talked about. So maybe that is something the DCU can really kind of maybe jump into, that new trend, that horror trend that Chuck is talking about. I mean, it's not really a new trend. It's been going for a number of years now, but that trend that seems to be on the uptick. maybe get into that. But I really want to know what you guys think about Chuck's comments here. Do you agree with him? Do you think that the superhero cycle is coming to an end? Or do you think we might see a resurgence with James Gunn's Superman legacy and maybe potentially what Marvel might be doing in this phase 5?